The Unstoppable Edna, a story of always being right. An exposition of stories about the human condition. By Cecil Davis. There lived a woman named Edna in the quaint little town of Agoville. Edna was known far and wide for her peculiar habit of believing she was always right. She had an uncanny ability to make everything about herself and disagreed with everyone 90% of the time, even when she was wrong. To say she was challenging to be around would be an understatement. Edna's husband, Harold, was a patient and easygoing man who had learned to navigate the turbulent waters of their marriage with a sense of humor. He often said that living with Edna was like playing a never-ending game of chess, except all the pieces were queens, and they were all trying to occupy the same square. One sunny morning, as Edna and Harold sat down for breakfast, she eyed his toast suspiciously. "Harold," she declared with an air of authority, "this toast tastes different today." Harold, who had been buttering his toast, glanced at her, puzzled. "Edna, I made the toast just the way I always do. I promise it's the same." Edna frowned. "No, Harold, I can tell. It's different. You must have changed something in the recipe." Harold chuckled to himself. "Edna, I promise you, I changed nothing. It's the same bread, same toaster, same butter." Edna crossed her arms, refusing to back down. "Well, I think you secretly added something different to it. You know I have a sensitive palate." Harold took a different approach. "All right, dear, if you say so. What do you think I added to the toast?" Edna leaned in, a triumphant grin on her face. "I knew it. You added a pinch of jealousy because you're jealous of my culinary skills." Harold burst into laughter. "Jealousy? Edna, I couldn't be prouder of your cooking skills. Now, can we please enjoy our breakfast in peace?" But Edna was not to be swayed. She insisted that the entire world revolved around her unique taste buds and that her opinions were the only ones that mattered. Later that day, as they walked through the park, they encountered their neighbors, the Johnsons. Mr. Johnson was an amateur astronomer who excitedly shared some recent discoveries with Harold. Edna, however, couldn't resist interjecting. "You know, Mr. Johnson," she began, "I've always had a special connection with the stars. I once met a shooting star, and it told me I was destined for greatness." Mrs. Johnson raised an eyebrow. "Really, Edna? That's quite the cosmic encounter." Edna nodded knowingly. "Yes, indeed. The stars and I, we understand each other." Harold couldn't help but chuckle at Edna's cosmic self-importance. He whispered to Mr. Johnson, "Don't mind her, she thinks the universe is just an elaborate backdrop for her life." As the weeks passed, Edna's quirks became amusing for everyone in the town. Friends and family would roll their eyes, and Harold would often find himself saying, "It's all about Edna," with a grin. One day, Edna's nephew, Jimmy, had had enough. He challenged her to a friendly game of trivia. To everyone's astonishment, Edna was finally stumped on a question. She hesitated momentarily before admitting, "Well, I suppose there might be one tiny thing I don't know." The entire room erupted in cheers and laughter. Despite Edna's insistence on being right about everything, Edna finally met her match. She couldn't help but join in the laughter, realizing that sometimes it was okay not to be the center of the universe. From that day on, Edna's insistence on being right and making everything about herself became a cherished quirk in Agoville, a source of endless amusement and laughter for the townsfolk. And while Edna never completely abandoned her belief that she was always right, she learned to occasionally embrace the joy of being wrong, making life in Agoville slightly more delightful for everyone involved. Dear reader, we hope you enjoyed the whimsical tale of Edna, the woman who believed she was always right, made everything about herself, and could argue her way out of a paper bag, even when she was wrong. This story was crafted to bring a smile to your face and remind you that humor and laughter can be found in the quirkiest corners of life. In Edna's world, every toast had a secret ingredient, the stars held conversations with her, and she could out-argue anyone. But her unwavering belief in herself made her a character worth remembering. We wanted to share this story to remind you that sometimes, it's okay to embrace the eccentricities of those around us and find humor in the quirks that make us human. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even ourselves, we all have moments of believing we're right when we're not. So, the next time you encounter Edna, remember to share a chuckle and a smile. After all, these unique characters add color and laughter to the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Edna's world, where laughter is the remedy for any situation and where being right is only sometimes the most important thing. With warm regards, Cecil Davis. An individual who constantly believes he or she is always right, is like a compass that points only to itself, navigating a world filled with endless opportunities for discovery but missing the joy of being pleasantly lost. CD. Dear reader and story enthusiasts, are you ready to journey through the captivating world of short stories? If so, I invite you to join me on this literary adventure. I love sharing my tales and weaving stories that transport you to different realms, evoke emotions, and ignite your imagination. If you're interested in reading my short stories, email me at professorcdavis@gmail.com or my website, www.businessinfo44.com. I would be delighted to share my stories with you and engage in discussions about the worlds we explore together. Let's embark on this literary adventure together and discover the magic of storytelling. Looking forward to connecting with you soon.